business isn't actually about me. Like, do I benefit from it? Like, absolutely. Like, yes. But my focus as a leader is making sure that, to the best of my ability, every single person that comes into my community that reaches me in some way, whether that's through my podcast or Instagram or whatever, like, they feel safe and held and supported, because I know what it feels like to not feel that way. And so how can I then take whatever it is that I've experienced and make it become medicine? Like, it's like, did it hurt? Yes. But how can I now use that as a beautiful way of like helping people feel supported and loved?
Welcome, Badass Manifester. I am so glad you are here. I'm your host and head coach, Ashley Gordon, master mindset and manifestation biz expert, founder of the quantum coaching certification, and multiple six-figure entrepreneur obsessed with empowering you to create quantum leaps in your energy, your life, and your business. This is the show to help you make magic your everyday normal, where the ripple effect is real and the guest experts are world class. My mission is to power your conscious and subconscious mind with manifestation teachings, business tools, and coaching techniques to put your potential into action. Consider this your weekly up level. Are you ready for quantum transformation? Let's do this. Welcome to the show, Rach. So happy that you're here.
I'm super excited to be here. Super pumped.
So Rachel and we get to hang out a lot because we're in the same mastermind. So I get to soak in your energy all the time. And it's like, honestly, your vibe is just, it's so different. It's so different in such a good way. Like when I look at your posts and your, just like what you comment back in the mastermind, like the transmission that I get from you is just, it's so powerful. And I just want you to know that.
Oh, got goosebumps. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm fully receiving that.
It's so cool. It's so cool. So I know that we're going to dive into a lot of that today. It's like how you really tap into like the most embodied leader that you can be. And I think that a lot of people get really caught up in, what to do and what to do and what to do. And like, the piece that's missing is that embodiment piece. And that's kind of what your jam is, among many other things. But before we dive in, obviously I want you to tell everyone who you are and how you became who you are right now.
Yeah, thank you. I always knew, like, since I was a little girl, that I was meant to help change the world. Like, I just knew that coming back to Earth. Like, there were so many things that I, even just as a child, would like take part in to like help people. And then around the age of 12, so like my grandfather was essentially my dad. I have my father and he's amazing and we have a great relationship now, but my grandpa really took on the role of my father. And when I was 12, he passed away. And that kind of was like the catapult to like a lot of trauma and a lot of disconnect in my life. And so I spent like a vast majority of my adolescent years like severely depressed and like very much so disconnected from everything and anything. And so that was like it's a really big piece of my story, because I feel like in all of that, the one thing that kept me here was I had this like deep inner knowing, even amongst the inner turmoil, that like I was meant to do something big in the world. And so there was always this like part of me that was like, just hold on a little bit longer, just hold on a little bit longer. And then through a lot of different things that I experienced around the age of 20 was when I essentially had what I like to call like a spiritual awakening of sorts. I was just like, it almost felt like something, and I don't even exactly know what it was, but it was something in me just like switched. And I was like, no, like I am here for something really, really big. And I started taking care of myself and started to like really explore like what it meant for me to be a human being, but also like knowing that I was a spiritual like having like I was a spiritual being inside of my humanness. And so basically as time went on in my 20s, I went through a lot more just like soul seeking. Like I never went to college, I never went to university. I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do? I know I'm here for something big. And then I ended up working in the fitness industry for a few years. And that was actually when I got introduced to the coaching industry. And so I was working as a fitness advisor and I started to hear about life coaching and I was like, oh my God, what is this? Like, what is coaching? And as soon as I realized what it was like every inch of me was like, yes, like this is it. And I actually ended up enrolling into, at the time, I was very much so excited about health and wellness. And so I ended up enrolling into an online program to become a certified holistic health coach and a life coach. And that actually is what led me to like knowing that I was like actually so passionate about mindset and the subconscious and healing trauma and all of these things that, you know, we're just such a foundational part of us being a leader. It's like our own radical responsibility over our healing and our liberation and our pleasure. And so it's almost been 4 years now since I got into the coaching industry. And it's just been this like spiritual experience. Like your business is a spiritual journey. And so it's just been this like incredible experience. And now I'm here and I'm like, wow, like it makes so much sense as to what I went through and why it happened. And now, you know, I'm gonna be 29 this year and I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm here. And it's been really cool.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. It sounds like when your grandfather passed, it was a really rough, well, like you said, the start of a really traumatic time. And it's just interesting how all of that trauma led you to, I always find that interesting, right? Like our trauma is the portal to who we're becoming in a way.
Yeah.
And then just what you said about your business is a spiritual journey. I love that. It's so true. Holy
Mm-hmm.
shit. Everything that, like building a business, starting a business, like it's all just giving you the personal development that you need every single second.
Oh, literally. And you know, that's the part that's really hard at times too, is that it is this divine mirror that's like always showing you like what you need to see and where you're going next. And it can be really confronting and really overwhelming. And a lot of the time, you know, something that I talk about a lot is like a lot of the time, like it's not about like more marketing or more funnels or whatever. It's like who you're being inside what you're doing to be
Mhm.
actually feel actually safe enough to receive what you desire, to feel safe enough to actually implement the things that you're learning. And so yeah, like really just honoring that whole experience as an individual is like what has shaped you to be who you are. And then how can you use that as medicine in your business? Super
Mm,
powerful.
that's so powerful. So can you say more about that specifically? Like
Mm,
how to use, okay, so yeah, what shaped you into who you are and using that as medicine in your business?
yeah. So, I mean, for example, someone like myself, like I was like bullied really, really badly for like most of my life, right? And so, what that taught me was compassion, empathy, because and I mean, in some ways, it evoked a lot of the shadow side of that because that also created a lot of people pleasing tendencies, and that's something that I've had to work through a lot in the past few years. But you know, just noticing like, okay, so what was it that I learned from that experience and how can I cultivate such a deep like level of compassion and empathy for every single human being that comes into contact. And so something that I say a lot is like, you know, my business isn't actually about me. Like, do I benefit from it? Like, absolutely. Like, yes. But my focus as a leader is making sure that to the best of my ability, every single person that comes into my community that reaches me in some way, whether that's my podcast or Instagram or whatever, like they feel safe and held and supported because I know what it feels like to not feel that way. And so how can I then take whatever it is that I've experienced and make it become medicine? Like it's like, did it hurt? Yes. But how can I now use that as a beautiful way of like helping people feel supported love? Does that make sense?
Mm. Oh my God, it makes perfect sense. Like, to me, that's like the ultimate embodiment of, what you've been through and transcending it into a way that is like super supportive for your people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's healing for you too, right? Because if everything's a mirror, like
Yeah.
when you give love to somebody, you're giving that to yourself. And so when you start to like really open your channel to be in this role of caring and helping and supporting and coaching, it's like you're then seeing your like yourself in these people as well. And it's like this beautiful, like there's nothing like separation's an illusion, right? So it's like when I'm giving energy to like support somebody, I'm also supporting myself. And it's like a
Mhm.
beautiful, like just this, yeah, like this energy that just like exists, this beautiful experience that I like, it makes me really emotional, honestly. Like it truly is like such a gift and such an honor to like be a facilitator in that way.
It's so powerful. And the image that comes to me when you say that is like have you ever seen the Joe Dispenza heart coherence image where it's like
Yep.
the energy is going in and then it's coming up? It's just, I don't know, it's like it's reciprocal. It's like never ending.
Yep.
Wow. So what would you say? I know you talk a lot about embodiment and pleasure, and I would love to kind of touch on that in business. Like your posts really strike me when you say like, like your business is supposed to be like juicy or like, so I can't think of a post right now, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I'm always like, yes, it's
Mhm.
supposed to feel luscious and
Mhm.
juicy. And it doesn't feel that way today. So how can I make it feel that way? I
Yes.
would love to jam on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So something that I think, pleasure isn't just like sexual. Like pleasure is like literally it's in every moment of every day. And so for me, I look at like how can I make today feel the most pleasurable? And how can I make the things that I do feel pleasurable and juicy, exciting? And it's not to say that every single thing that we do is going to be this like turn on, but it's like how can I seek enjoyment and fulfillment and be really present in what I'm doing? And so, for example, I know that I personally like the masculine side of my business is like not like my favorite. Like it's not my favorite. But what I'll do instead is like, okay, so instead of just like, being hunched over at my desk and be like, oh, like I don't want to do this. I'm like, okay, how can I put on music? How can I get the essential oils going? How can I like
Mhm.
dance while I'm doing this? Like, how can I like find pleasure in this experience? And then, in the conversation around embodiment, it's like being embodied in something is being expressed, like fully expressed in what it is that you're experiencing. And that can relate to literally anything. And so, also, when I'm looking at talking about embodied leadership, it's like, so what are my values as a leader? What are my values in my business? And how can I embody those? So, like, if one of my values is like love, like how can I be embodied in love? And like what does that actually physically feel like? And what is the expression of love in that moment? And so for me, one of the things that I do to evoke pleasure and to feel embodied in my truth and my values is I use movement every day, all the time. And it's my way of actually not only moving energy through me because emotions are energy in motion, but it's also like an opportunity for me to like evoke the things that I'm desiring to feel. So it's like, oh, if I'm wanting to feel like really turned on by what I'm doing, like how can I physically express like what that would look like? And it's just this opportunity to bring more presence into your experience. And so how can we find that like fulfillment, pleasure in what we're doing, even if it's not like our favorite thing? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that is so good. And I feel like this is like, if you're listening to this and you're really, really stuck in what's not happening in your business, like I feel like this could be the cure for the entrepreneur, the coach that's like so focused on lack. Like, oh, my Instagram's
Mm,
not growing. Oh, this isn't happening. Oh, I haven't signed a discovery call yet. Oh, I haven't done like what's not happening. Instead, like put this energy in. Like, how can you bring pleasure to looking at your Instagram? How can you bring pleasure to and make it a beautiful experience when you're, doing the things that are moving your business forward, but also like how to amplify your energy. It's because when you describe like bringing in that dance and that movement, that is really like a huge amplifier. It's an energy amplifier. So what are you amplifying? What you want or what you don't want? So I feel like there's a lot of manifestation weaved into there too.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, that's such a huge part of, the conversation around, conscious creation is such a part of what I do. It's like, we're always manifesting, just whether we're consciously doing it or unconsciously doing it. So when we can tap into being embodied in what it is that we desire. So it's like, let's look at like, okay, so maybe, let's say you're looking to sign like you're a new client, right? It's like, what is the energy of that client? Who are they? What do they love? What do they like? What are they turned on by? Like, who is this person? And what's the vibe, the general vibe of signing that client? And then how can you embody that? What does that actually look like? Like, how are you going to feel once this human being enters your sacred space and enters this partnership with you? What does that feel like in your body to work with this person? And then also just creating the space to actually feel that energy. And sometimes too, what we get to look at from that perspective also is like how can we cultivate safety to hold the energy of what we're looking to call in, because we only receive what we feel safe to receive. So it's like, if signing a client or filling your program or whatever it is the desire, how can I let that desire pull me forward, and how can I create safety in this moment through embodying that energy and actually teaching my nervous system what it feels like to hold that energy, so that when those things start to get close enough, I'm like, okay, yeah, like I'm good. Like I feel this, they feel it, we're vibing, it's good. Like they feel safe, enter my space, I feel safe to hold their energy. And it's just this, it's really about intention. It's like the intention behind what you're doing. And yeah, bringing in that like awareness and focusing on what it is you desire versus what's not there. Absolutely.
So good. And I'm curious what your thoughts are around like, why do you feel most people, or not, I shouldn't say most people, some people may not feel safe to actually get what they want?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's so many layers to it. Like, this is why the conversation around like, being trauma informed within yourself, but also as a coach or as a leader is so crucial, because every single human being has experienced something that has created unsafety in their life. And depending on the person, those things can run really, really deep. And so when you have people that are like, well, just take action, just do it. It's like, that's easy enough if like you've already like, alchemized your shadow and like have the tools to just move through these like nerves or fears. But when you're somebody who maybe, maybe let's say you're somebody who grew up in a household where money wasn't available, and money was like a really like shitty thing. Like it was like scary and uncomfortable, created fight, created like you didn't have enough. Well, now you have a business, and guess what shows up? That shows up in just a different way, regardless of maybe you making money in the past. Like there's layers and layers. And so that's just one example, but it's like, that's why like we have to look at like actually acknowledging a person's real life experiences, and us as an individual like acknowledge our own and see like, okay, well, what could be there that could be showing up for me right now? Like maybe I'm afraid of success, maybe I'm afraid of what it will look like to actually hold this level of impact. So we have to like explore those a little bit deeper as a coach.
And this is like a perfect example if you're listening and you're like, have wondered, what would I hire a coach for? Like, this is literally this is part of the work that we do with clients, right? Like, and this is a great opportunity for yourself, like Rach was saying, to look at yourself and say, well, what do I want in my life right now that I'm not receiving, or I'm scared to receive, or I don't feel worthy or good enough to receive? And how is that, where is it coming from? Right? Like, because it's different circumstances throughout our life, but they create the same emotions and the same feelings. Yeah.
Totally. And it's
So
just
good.
an opportunity to just get curious, not
Yeah.
to judge, not to think that there's anything wrong with you. It's just like, how can I just invite in this like curiosity and just see what comes through, and to know that, that could be an opportunity to reach out to like, get a coach or to do something that's going to help you move through it and heal it from a place of love, compassion, knowing that like what you desire is on the other side of that shadow work that can feel really fucking hard.
It's so true. I mean, and then I'm sure you have miracles with clients, and I definitely have. Even I worked with a client who was, she had a lot of limitations around like wanting to have another baby, and how she would have to go through fertility treatment. It was going to be so expensive. And like, it was related to something in the past, and she didn't get her period for like years. And then she worked through the belief, and then boom, she got her period. Boom, she got pregnant. Like, it's just things like that happen when you do the work.
Absolutely. And if just as well as I, like, our subconscious is so powerful. Like, it's literally
Yes.
like it's there to protect you. And
Mhm.
so it's doing its job. Like,
Yeah, all
it's
the
just
time.
whether or not like it's conducive to what you desire. And so that's where we get to just look at like, well, what does it look like to like focus on subconscious healing, and how can I allow myself to look at what's there, and then, partake in experiences and modalities that help like reprogram myself for success and what I want.
Because our brain and our subconscious are programmed,
Oh yeah.
literally are programmed from this life, from past lives, from past generations. Like, so it's really our job. And so many of us are on that healing journey of healing ourselves on a cellular level.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do think, like, when you look at the coaching industry, most people are doing the inner work, I would say. And most people are being really successful. They're making a lot of money. They're making a lot of impact. They're living a dream life, and they're doing the work.
Yeah. And
So it
it's
goes back to
all
what you
connected.
said. It's all connected. It goes back to what you were saying about, your business is a spiritual journey. And so what would you say to the people listening right now that are like just starting out that journey, that feel scared?
Yeah. What I would say is, I want you to close your eyes and imagine who it is that you're here to impact, and what your why is behind every single thing you do.
Mm,
And to really feel, like truly feel into that, and to know that it's okay to be scared, and it's okay to want to know how things are going to happen. But the truth is that there is a energy that exists within you and in all things across space and time, totally love. And there's
mhm,
literally nothing, there's no vision that would have been placed on the altar of your heart that you can't bring forth. And so whatever it is that you desire, whatever is in your heart, whatever it is that you feel with a full body fuck yes is like meant for you, gets to happen. And so just honor your present experience, honor where it is that you are, knowing that there is only now, there is no future or past. So whatever you're experiencing now is a very important to your journey. And you don't need to know how or know the whole plan to trust that love that exists in your heart, like just even just putting your hand on your heart, feeling your heart, feeling that love, like that love wants you to succeed. And so just like leaning into that why, leaning into that trust, leaning into that purpose every single day, the days where it feels like nothing's moving, nothing's working, like feel into that love and to let that carry you forward. Like I said, there's literally nothing, there's no vision that would have been gifted to you that you can't bring forward. So like love and connect that every single day.
whoa, that was absolutely beautiful. Felt that.
Mm.
Woo. Perfect timing. And the time right now where I am, it's my birthday. So that's really cool.
Oh, it's your birthday?
I mean, not really, but just on the clock.
Okay.
Angels.
Yes.
Angel dings for the
Yes.
truth.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. And just your ability to kind of tap into like the collective, like she's tapping into you guys right now, and that's what you all needed to hear. That's what I needed to hear. And so go back and play that as many times as you need to kind of let that just really sink in, like fully. Wow.
Mm.
Getting like emotional. Ah, so I mean, I think it's obvious. I ask this to all of my guests, and it's always obvious, but like, what would you say makes you, in particular, you, a badass manifester?
Mm. Yes. Love this. I think the badass piece for me is my rebellious bit. Like I'm covered in tattoos. I have piercings. I've always been a rebel, and I think that like inner badass in me is like I don't like pardon my French here, but like I don't give a fuck what it takes. Like I'm making it happen, but I also know that I'm co-creating God, and so it's not like me having to like be at the forefront, like plowing my way through life. It's like I am willing to get uncomfortable. I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to like fall on like flat on my face time and time again if it takes being able to carry forth the desires that I have or the vision that I'm here to carry forward. My essence is like gentle, but like I know that I'm a fucking fiery woman. And so it's like I use my fire to like ignite the hearts of those around me. And I let God like create through me. I let life create through me. And so it's like this co-creative dance, and part of my power is my ability to like just honor the inner like fieriness within me and that badass within me. And I think that just allowing is like a huge word for me, and it's been like this really important part of my journey is like allowing what wants to come through, because
Mm,
manifestation is about co-creation. So it's like there is something more intelligent and bigger than me that is creating through me. And so how can I let God use me as like a paintbrush and let God literally like just work through me and let me just be, whatever it is that I'm here to be. Just always coming back to that, like always.
mm. There's no words to say after that. um, yeah, what an amazing reminder for all of us. Yes, 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 yes. Just letting it sink in.
Mm.
It's so cool when you can get into that space and remember that, because it's not like all the time that I remember that. It's a lot, but it's not all the time. And when you just like hone, like just I don't know, it's like thank you. I thank you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. And it's and that's the thing. Never We're never in one level of consciousness. Like I wish we could
Right.
always be there. Like I wish we could always be in that like state of total love and trust. But I think that, you know, we get to look for ways that we can evoke that. So like that might look like going to the sky for 5 minutes. That might look like getting into nature and just like letting that be a mirror for like the miraculousness that's like. So sometimes we're in those like states where it's like, whoa, like my ego is really at the forefront of what I'm doing right now. It's like, well, what can I do to like get back to that energy?
Yeah. And it's coming back to that embodiment piece too, like what you're saying right now. It's like, yeah, for me this morning I went out and I went to the beach and I did yoga and meditation 2 days in a row now. And it's just that puts me in that soul aligned energy, that God energy. And it's like, what will do it for you, and do what it takes to get there. Do what it takes to bring yourself into that state, because it's in that state that you can be the vessel and that it can all be worked through you. It's in that state that Instagram numbers don't fucking matter and your email list, like nothing matters, because you know that it's all here and it's all available. Yeah. Wow. This was so good. So, so, so good. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Where can everyone connect with you, listen to you, all the things?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So there's a few ways. I definitely hang out on Instagram most of the time. So
Her
it's
IG is so good, you guys.
it's at I am Rachael Fisher. And then for any of like my offerings, you can go to rachelfishercoaching.com/link. And then I also have a podcast called the Embody Leadership Podcast as well.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think we all needed I feel upgraded. I hope you guys do too. I hope you do, Rach.
I feel so good. I'm like, my heart's like literally beating. I feel like there's just like love radiating from my heart right now.
I feel it. And I love episodes that are like you just, it was more of like a channeling, I feel. And like, that is what I think that's what we all needed so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, everyone, tag us. Let us know what your favorite part of today was. And definitely hit us up on Instagram. And we will see you soon. Bye. Woo. We did some work today. Thank you so much for listening. You know I love my BAM fam. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who you know would love it too, because we live for the ripple effect over here. And how can you best support the show? Make sure you're subscribed, hit the 5 stars, and leave a review on iTunes, and let me know how the podcast has impacted you. I love being part of your real-time journey, so screenshot the episode and tag me and my guests on Instagram at manifestwithash. Now say it with me. I am my own power source. I am the master of my own energy, and I deserve everything that I desire. We don't just talk about it over here, we be about it. Now go get 'em.